The Hammersmith Apollo, known through sponsorship as the Eventim Apollo, is a major entertainment venue and a Grade II listed building located in Hammersmith, London. Designed by Robert Cromie in Art Deco style, it opened in 1932 as the Gaumont Palace, being renamed the Hammersmith Odeon in 1962. It has had a string of names and owners, most recently AEG Live and CTS Eventim. History. The venue was opened in 1932 as the Gaumont Palace and seated nearly 3,500 people. It was designed by Robert Cromie in the Art Deco style. In 1962, the building was renamed Hammersmith Odeon, a name many people still use for the venue along with the abbreviation HAMMEO. It became a Grade II listed building in 1990. The venue was later refurbished and renamed Labatt's Apollo following a sponsorship deal with Labatt Brewing Company. In 2002, the venue was again renamed, this time to Carling Apollo after Carling Brewery struck a deal with the owners, US-based Clear Channel Entertainment UK Limited in 2005. The venue's listing was upgraded to Grade II status in 2005. In 2003, the stall seats were made removable and now some concerts have full seating whilst others have standing only in the stalls. In the latter format the venue can accommodate around 5,000 people. The event was marked by rock band AC/DC playing an exclusive one-off concert and only charging £10 per ticket. All 5,000 tickets sold out in 4 minutes. In 2006, the venue reverted to its former name, the Hammersmith Apollo. In 2007, the original 1932 Compton pipe organ, still present from the building's days as a cinema, was restored. The building then changed hands and was bought by the Mama Group. On January 14, 2009, a placing announcement by HMV Group revealed that by selling additional shares, the company would raise money to fund a joint venture with the Mama Group, to run 11 live music venues across the United Kingdom, including the Hammersmith Apollo. As a result, the venue was named HMV Apollo from 2009 until 2012. Other venues purchased include the Forum in London's Kentish Town, the Birmingham Institute and Aberdeen's Mwashulu. The venue was sold by HMV Group in May 2012 to AEG Live and CTS Eventim. In 2013, the venue was closed for an extensive refurbishment which was carried out by award-winning architect Foster Wilson. The venue reopened as the Eventim Apollo on September 7, 2013, with a concert performance by Selena Gomez, the Compton pipe organ. The original 1932 Compton pipe organ is still present at the Apollo and was fully restored to playing condition in 2007. It has a full manual console which rises through the stage on a new lift and about 1,200 organ pipes housed in large chambers above the front stall's ceiling. Having fallen into disrepair, the organ was disconnected in the 1990s and the console removed from the building. However, at English Heritage and the Council's insistence it has been reinstated and the entire organ restored. A launch party was held on July 25, 2007, at which an invited audience and the media witnessed Richard Hills play the instrument. Pipe organs such as this were installed in most cinemas of the pre-war period to provide music for film shows, accompany silent movies and to feature in solo performances. Many were also broadcast on the radio and recorded on 78 RPM's records. These organs were based on church-type instruments but had many other sounds including percussion instruments built in. A lot of the pipe sounds were designed to sound like instruments of the orchestra and indeed the organs were in effect one-man orchestras, offering a large variety of sounds and being capable of accommodating music styles from classical to jazz. Although several such organs survive in the UK these days, there are very few left in their original buildings. The Apollo organ is one of these and its sounds now fill the huge Apollo Auditorium again after about 25 years of silence. In popular culture, many bands have released live CDs, videos or DVDs of concerts held at the Apollo, such as Kings of Leon, Tears for Fears, Dire Straits, Sophie Ellis-Bextor and Robbie Williams. Kate Bush released a video and record EP of her concerts at the Odeon from her first tour in 1979. Duran Duran recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon on November 16, 1982 and released Live at Hammersmith '82. Kylie Minogue and Girls Aloud released DVDs of their concerts at the Apollo in 2004 and 2005 respectively. A DVD of a Bruce Springsteen concert held there in 1975 was released as part of the Born to Run 30th Anniversary Edition package. Later the CD Hammersmith Odeon London 75 was released. Melodic death metal band In Flames also released a DVD that featured footage of a December 2004 performance there. Comedian and actor Eddie Izzard's show Glorious was also released as a DVD. Rush recorded their 1978 performance and later included it in their 3-disc set, Different Stages. American musician Tori Amos released a series of 6 live albums in 2005 known as the Original Bootlegs, one of which was recorded at the Apollo. Photographs of The Who outside the Hammersmith Odeon appear on their 1973 album Quadrophenia. Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour performed 3 nights at the venue in April 1984, which was documented on the David Gilmour Live 1984 concert film. These shows are of note as Roy Harper guested on Short and Sweet, and Gilmour's Pink Floyd bandmate Nick Mason played drums on Comfortably Numb. In 1984 the London-based heavy metal band Iron Maiden recorded side 4 of their double live album Live After Death at the venue. Iron Maiden's affection for the Hammersmith Odeon also resulted in the filming of a 1982 performance which was subsequently released as Beast Over Hammersmith. Other acts have made music videos featuring clips from performances at the Apollo. Kelly Clarkson made a special version of her Breakaway video using clips from her concert at the Apollo in 2006. The Hammersmith Apollo is seen in the American romantic comedy film Just My Luck where McFly perform. In the movie, the venue stands in for the Hard Rock Cafe copyright. It is also the location in the football factory where the Chelsea fans board the bus for Liverpool. It is mentioned in the poem Glam Rock, the poem by the poet Robert R. Clambo. The exterior of the Gaumont Palace was used as the Grand Cinema in the 1957 British film The Smallest Show on Earth. Noteworthy performances, 1950s, on March 25, 1958, Buddy Holly performed 2 shows at the venue. These were his last shows ever in the United Kingdom. 1960s, in the early 1960s, many of the top American stars performed at the Odeon, including Tony Bennett, with Count Basie, Ella Fitzgerald with Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong and Woody Herman and The Herd. In late 1964 and early 1965, the Beatles played 38 shows over 21 nights. Special guests on the bill included Elkie Brooks' The Original Yardbirds, featuring Eric Clapton. In 1966, Johnny Cash performed at the venue. 1970s, the photo booklet that forms part of the Who's Quadrophenia album features pictures of the venue. The photos of the main character waiting, kneeling beside his GS scooter outside the venue as the members of the band take their groupies to a limo were taken during a photo shoot set up specifically for the booklet. Interestingly, even though the production team viewed the venue as an iconic image, the Who didn't play the Odeon during their 1973 Quadrophenia UK tour. Miles Davis plays in 1982 with his modern jazz fusion band. The concert was released years later in DVD. In July 1973, David Bowie performed his final concert, as Ziggy Stardust, at the venue. The concert was filmed by American documentary filmmaker D.A. Pennebaker, who intercut scenes of fans outside the venue, Bowie in the dressing room, with the concert footage. The film was not released until 1983 and is now available on DVD as Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. On May 18, 1974, Slade played 3 dates on their Crazy Night tour supported by Beckett. The band had a Slade look-alike competition on stage before the gig, where the audience had to cheer for their favorite look-alike. The results showed on the Slade clipometer. Also the band created 3 walkways from the stage into the audience. The theatre management kept these in place for about 8 years after the Slade gigs. In 1978, Black Sabbath still with Ozzy Osbourne held concerts celebrating 10 years of career in the venue. The opening band was Van Halen. The concert was recorded and released on video and later on DVD, with the name of Never Say Die, A Decade of Black Sabbath. Still in December 31, 1981, The band Now with Dio recorded the concerts at this venue. The gig was released on disc and vinyl in 2007, and later as part of the deluxe edition of Mob Rules. In 1994 the show in Apollo is recorded and 1 year later is released with name Cross Purposes Live. In 1973, Mott the Hoople played, with Queen supporting them. The concert was recorded, and released in 1974 forming one side of the Mott the Hoople Live album. In December 1974, Elton John played a televised Christmas concert for the BBC's Old Grey Whistle Test. In Christmas of 1975 Queen performed at the Hammersmith Odeon on December 24 during the A Night at the Opera tour. Many people called this gig as the first legendary concert of the band. In 1975, Bruce Springsteen's performances there are well known, as is Neil Young's performance in the same year, when part of the venue caught fire. On May 16, 1976, Kiss made their first UK appearances, supported by UK rockers Stray. Tickets sold out in 2 hours for their two-night stay. The Irish blues rocker Rory Gallagher recorded one concert for the BBC in 1977. The concert exists in bootleg DVD format, not in official format. Carlos Santana and this band recorded for the BBC television programme Old Grey Whistle Test in 1976. In 1976, much of Thin Lizzy's live album Live and Dangerous was recorded at the Hammersmith on the Johnny the Fox tour. Again in 1981, Lynott and This Gang appeared in the venue for recorded of BBC in concert. The disc are released as a part of the box set at the BBC, in 2011. Some of these tracks also appeared in the deluxe editions of Chinatown and Thunder and Lightning. Finally, the double live album Life Live has recorded in the venue on the years of 1981 and 1983, with the participation of guitarists Eric Bell, Brian Robertson and Gary Moore. The guitarist Snowy White participated on 2 tracks recorded in 1981 on the same venue. The progressive rock band Camel recorded some tracks in 1976 for the release of a future live album. The album is released in 1978, and is called A Live Record. The entire concert is released and made part of the deluxe edition of Moon Madness. The same concert was broadcast by the BBC, and is released in DVD format. The DVD is called Moondances. On February 24, 1978, Sweet played their first concert at Hammersmith Odeon. As it transpired, it was to be their last British show with a classic lineup featuring popular blonde singer Brian Connolly. On February 20, 1978, Rush recorded 11 tracks from their A Farewell to Kings tour, including tracks from all of their first 5 albums. These tracks were not released at the time. They were included as a bonus disc on their November 10, 1998 release of Different Stages Live, which included recordings from both their 1994 counterparts, and 1997 Test for Echo tours. Gary Newman recorded his touring Principal show on September 28 and is widely recognized as the first release of a live concert video. Whitty Snake recorded tracks for their live album Live in the Heart of the City on November 23, 1978. The album also included tracks that were later recorded on 23 and 24 June 1980. Years later, David Coverdale and This Gang appears in Hammersmith for the recorded of Live in the Still of the Night album and DVD set. The album's 461 Ocean Boulevard and Slow Hand of the guitarist Eric Clapton were reissued in double CD deluxe format accompanied with a live album recorded at the venue, depicting tour 1974 and 1976. Frank Zappa also recorded parts of his 1979 album, Chic Yerbauti, at the venue. Kate Bush also performed the same year, and released a live video and record EP of her 1979 concerts. In December 1979, Queen played several further concerts. The Hammersmith Odeon hosted the 4-night concerts for the people of Kampuchea, a benefit concert to raise money for Cambodian residents, who were victims of the tyrannical reign of dictator Pol Pot, of which Queen played the first night. 1980s, the solo band of Ronnie James Dio participated in the program broadcast on BBC Radio in concert in 1984. In 1980, the rock band UFO, without Michael Schenker, recorded the BBC programme in concert. In 1981, they again played in the venue for the same programme. These two discs are in the UFO on Air, at the BBC, released in 2013. Schenker in this MSG recorded in 1983 one concert in video with Ted Nugent, Derek Street Holmes in the band. The video was released in 1984 with the name Rock Will Never Die. The DVD has released in the box set Walk the Stage, the official bootleg box set in 2003. The keyboardist Rick Wakeman recorded one video in the venue in the 1984 tour. The video has released in the 2007 special box set Treasure Chest and re-released in 2014 as 1984 Live at Hammersmith Odeon. The Canadian rockers April Wine recorded a performance at the venue for the launch of a video that portrays a successful tour of the 1981 Nature of the Beast album. The video was released on DVD years later under the name Live in London 1981. Saxon released their live album in 1982, with tracks of concerts in the venue. The British rockers of Magnum recorded several concerts of 1988 tour of album In the Wings of Heaven. The video has released in 1989 as the name of In the Wings of Heaven Live. The NWOBHM rockers Def Leppard recorded the video of Bringing on the Heartbreak on the venue. Space Rockers of Hawkwind recorded the concert in the venue for the release of conceptual album The Chronicles of Black Sword. The video was released in 1985. The DVD has released in 2004. In 1983, Dire Straits recorded the concerts for a future release. Finished launching in 1984 the double album Alchemy and a video with the same name. The video was remastered and released on DVD and Blu-ray in 2009, in its full version. The black metal band Venom released a double album in 1985 called Ainkley and Natch Music. One of the discs was recorded in the venue. The band was banned in 1984 because they ruined the ceiling of the theatre with a show of fireworks. The show was recorded and released on video in 1984 with the name 7 Dates to Hell, with opening by the Young Metallica. The following year, the band recorded the concert at this venue for a television special, named Live from London. Both shows were released on DVD in the decade of 2000. In 1980, Blondie performed one of their most famous shows. Robert Fripp joined them on guitar, and their live cover of Heroes was recorded there. In addition, some more live tracks recorded were later used as bonus tracks on the 2001 re-release of the Eat to the Beat album. On September 20, 1980, Randy Rhoads performed one of his first shows, with new musical soulmate Ozzy Osbourne, on the Blizzard of Oz tour. They returned on October 26. In 1981, Motor Paragraph Red's live album, No Sleep Till Hammersmith, brought the Odeon to the international stage, becoming widely recognized. On July 3, 1981, the German electronic band Kraftwerk performed 3 shows at the Hammersmith Odeon as a part of their Computer World Tour to support their new album Computer World. From December 31, 1981 through January 3, 1982, Black Sabbath played 4 shows with singer Ronnie James Dio. These performances were recorded and released as Live at Hammersmith Odeon. In 1982, Iron Maiden performed a sold-out show during promotion for their The Number of the Beast album. The concert was filmed and released as Beast Over Hammersmith in 2002. An abridged video version of the concert is included on Disc 1 of The History of Iron Maiden a Euro Part 1, the Early Days DVD, released in 2005. In 1982, Duran Duran performed during promotion for their Rio album. The concert was filmed and released as Live at Hammersmith 82. In 2009, as a CD-DVD combo pack. On October 25, 1982, Depeche Mode performed there as part of their CU tour. The concert was filmed and parts were released as Live at Hammersmith Odeon London in 2006, as a DVD included in the remastered album, A Broken Frame. In 1982, Elton John performed a series of concerts with his reunited classic band, promoting his albums The Fox and Jump Up. A concert on Christmas Eve featured a medley of Christmas carols and a rare live duet of Don't Go Breaking My Heart with Key D. In 1982, Japan played a 6-night residency from November 17 to November 22. These were the band's final performances in the UK, and the final night's performance was recorded and then released in 1983 on VHS and audio as Oil on Canvas. In 1983, Marillion performed the final date of their tour supporting their debut album, Script for a Jester's Tear. This also marked the final performance with drummer Mick Pointer. The performance was filmed and released as Recital of the Script. Recital of the Script is a live album by Marillion, recorded at a concert at the Hammersmith Odeon, London, on April 18, 1983. The recording was made on the final date of the tour promoting their 1983 debut album Script for a Jester's Tear. Featuring former members Fish on vocals and Mick Pointer on drums, it comprises songs from that album as well as all tracks of the 1982 debut EP Market Square Heroes and the B-side of He Knows You Know. The side 2 of live disc The Thieving Magpie was recorded on 9th and 10th January 1986, as well as 2 tracks from Reel to Reel album, released in 1984. In 1983, Tears for Fears released a live video of their December concert at the venue. Dire Straits filmed a 1983 live concert there, released as Alchemy, Dire Straits Live. In 1983, Culture Club, with Boy George, were filmed at the height of their success. A film bears resemblance to David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust shows, which had taken place at the same venue 10 years before. The 13-track concert film was released theatrically in 1984 as A Kiss Across the Ocean and on VHS later that year. It is now available on the Culture Club Greatest Hits DVD released in 2004. On June 30, 1983, David Bowie returned to perform during his Serious Moonlight Tour. This was a charity show, for the Brixton Neighbourhood Community Association, in the presence of Princess Michael of Kent. On September 7, 1983, Peter Gabriel, plus some support, performed a cozy, amazing concert. On December 13, 1983, Robert Plant performed a show with his band, when Jimmy Page joined him on stage for the second encore. In 1984, Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour performed 3 sold-out shows at the venue on his About Face solo tour, which was documented on the concert video David Gilmour Live 1984. On June 1, 1984, Venom accidentally burned Hammersmith's ceiling during a performance, which event can be clearly seen in the 7 Dates of Hell concert video. As a result, Venom were banned from the Hammersmith Apollo for a year. From June 24, 1984 to June 30, 1984, Status Quo played 7 sold-out shows in a row at Hammersmith on their End of the Road tour. On September 9, 1984, Jethro Tull performed there in support of their then-current album, Under Wraps. This performance was released as Live at Hammersmith 84. In 1984, Iron Maiden performed 4 sold-out shows during promotion for their Power Slave album. The concerts were recorded and 5 songs were included in the Live After Death in 1985. On December 8, 1984, The Firm performed a sold-out show at this venue. On June 24, 1985, Ian Dury and the Blockheads played there. Most of the performance can be found on Hold On To Your Structure. On December 23, 1985, Dire Straits sold out 7 nights from their Brothers in Arms Live in 85 tour. On September 21, 1986, Metallica performed at the Odeon during their Master of Puppets tour. This is one of the band's last performances with bassist Cliff Burton, who was killed in a bus crash 6 days later, and also featured guitarist John Marshall as James Hetfield was recovering from a skateboard accident. This performance formed the basis for the Hammersmith Apollo's appearance in video game Guitar Hero, Metallica in 2009, complete with Master of Puppets themed stage. Between 15th and 20th December 1986, the Norwegian band a-ha held 6 concerts at the Hammersmith Odeon. At the start of the seminal Public Enemy album, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, they are heard addressing the Hammersmith Odeon crowd at a concert there in 1987. Due to trouble outside the venue before and after the show, Hammersmith Odeon refused to host any rap groups for several years afterwards. In summer 1987, American band Bruce Hornsby and the Range performed at the Odeon. On November 16, 1987, Anthrax performed at the venue. The concert was released on VHS named Oi Divnik Ufasin. On June 9, 1988, Dire Straits performed a second warm-up show at Hammersmith leading up to the Nelson Mandela 70th birthday tribute which was held on June 11, 1988 at Wembley Stadium, London. 1990s. During the early 1990s, the venue played host to a number of stage productions, including Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. On February 26, 1991 the Norwegian band a-ha returned for one concert. On 29 September 30, 1992, Megadeth, supported by Pantera, performed 2 evenings in a row at Hammersmith. The second night was recorded and later released as a DVD on their box set Warchest. In summer of 1992, Erasure played 8 consecutive nights at the Hammersmith Odeon on the opening of their phantasmagorical entertainment tour, just after the release of their most successful single, ABBA-esque. No other artist apart from the Beatles has played such a row of nights at this venue. Musical theatre star Michael Ball has performed at the Hammersmith Apollo on 6 occasions each time selling out. In 1992, he was both the last person to play the Odeon and first person to play the newly named Apollo on the same tour. His concerts in December 1993 and 1994 were recorded by BBC Radio 2. He also recorded his 2003, 2007 and 2013 concerts for DVD release. J.J. Cale played 3 nights in October 1994, along with Christine Lakeland, Bill Raffensperger, James Kruse, Rocky Frisco and Jimmy Karlstein. Excerpts from the second of the 3 nights were later broadcast on BBC Radio. 2000s. On July 19, 2000, Alice Cooper filmed his Brutally Live DVD. The master of Choc Records in the video the presentation of the 2009 tour to launch Theatre of Death Tour, Live in Hammersmith 2009 in DVD and CD. On March 20, 2001, Kylie Minogue performed for the first time at the Apollo, 4 consecutive shows, during her On a Night Like This tour. On October 5, 2002, Prince and the New Power Generation performed, for the first time at the Apollo, 3 consecutive shows, during his One Night Alone tour. On October 21, 2003 rock band AC/DC charged fans £10 a ticket to see them play at the Apollo at what was one of their most intimate shows in years. The event sold out online in just 4 minutes. The lead singer Brian Johnson was suffering from a lung infection on the night of the gig. In 2004, the venue was part of the Carling Live 24 event, which saw Feeder play their only date of that year. The venue also spawned the BBC television series Live at the Apollo, originally titled Jack D. Live at the Apollo. On October 20, 2004, Whitty Snake filmed their Live in the Still of the Night DVD. On November 15, 2004, Europe filmed their Live from the Dark DVD. In 2005, Tori Amos released a live album from her 2005 concert at the Apollo as part of the official bootlegs. On September 2, 2005, Iron Maiden performed a special fundraising sold-out show during their Eddie Rips Up the World tour for former drummer Clive Burr, who was suffering from multiple sclerosis. In October 2005, Dream Theater played a 2-night stand at the Apollo. At the second of these shows they played Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety. On November 25, 2006, Video Games Live presented the first ever UK video game concert at the Hammersmith Apollo as part of their 2006 World Tour. A parody of the Hammersmith Odeon was made for Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock, called Ye Olde Royal Odeon. The game Guitar Hero Metallica features the real Hammersmith Apollo as a playable venue. On June 5, 2008, the venue played host to Passion, London, part of the Passion Conferences. In the summer of 2008, the Apollo saw a 10-week season of Disney's High School Musical live on stage, starring EastEnders star Letitia Dean. In September 2008, comedian Michael McIntyre performed sellout shows around theatres in the UK and his filmed performance at the Hammersmith Apollo became the best-selling debut comedy DVD of all time. On October 12, 2008, BBC Switch hosted a show of live music from Fall Out Boy, Ne-Yo, Miley Cyrus, Baz Shunter, McFly, NDUBZ and George Sampson. It was a gig especially for 14 to 17-year-olds. In December 2008, metal band Slipknot performed 3 nights at the Apollo, one of which was filmed for MTV World Stage. In March 2009, SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical, premiered at the Apollo. On July 11, 2009, Thunder played their last concert in a sold-out Hammersmith Apollo, as being the last stop on their 20 Years and Out tour. The show was also filmed and recorded for a Last Thunder Live DVD. On November 29, 2009, British Christian rock band Delirious played their farewell concert at the venue. The show was sold out and was recorded for a live album and DVD. On December 15, 2009, the Apollo hosted the UK premiere of It Might Get Loud, a documentary film that covers the careers of world-famous guitarists The Edge, Jimmy Page, and Jack White. Page was the only star of the film to attend the UK premiere. On December 4, 2009, Regina Spektor filmed her Live in London CD-DVD to a sold-out crowd. 2010s. From €5 January 31, 2010, Billy Connolly performed 20 sold-out shows. On March 19, 2010, British band The Stranglers recorded a live DVD entitled Live at the Apollo. On April 8, 2010, the comedy film directed by David Baddiel and starring Ahmed Jalali, The Infidel, had its premiere. The organ was played by Richard Hills as the audience arrived and in the interval. This was the first film premiere at the Apollo for over 20 years. The occasion also marked the first proper public performance for the organs since the 1980s. On July 18, 2010, American magicians and comedians Penn and Teller performed, their first UK performance in more than 16 years. Bob Dylan performed 3 sold-out concerts, ending his 2011 Never-Ending Tour with Mark Knopfler. These 3 dates brings the total of Dylan performances at the venue to 24. He performed there 6 times in 1990, 8 times in 1991, 6 times in 1993, once in 2003 and 3 times in 2011. On May 26, 2012, Judas Priest performed the last show of their Epitaph World Tour, and it was filmed for a later DVD release. On December 21, 2012, Brian Cox and Robin Inc. hosted a sellout show containing performances by scientists, comedians, actors and other apocalypse skeptics for a show to coincide with a predicted Mayan apocalypse entitled The End of the World Show. On March 16, 2013, the original lineup of Status Quo played 2 sold-out shows on their reunion tour, after being apart for 32 years. These concerts were released on CD. On September 7, 2013, Selena Gomez opened the newly renovated theatre on her Stars Dance Tour, the only performance in the UK for the tour. The date also commissioned the venue's new name, Eventim Apollo. From August to October 2014, Kate Bush undertook a 22-date residency called Before the Dawn at the Apollo. These performances were her first live shows in nearly 35 years. External links: FLICKR photo set of the Apollo organ, references.